A 12-year-old boy witnessed his mother die while protecting him. Before she died, his mother entrusted Gaia to stay alive at all costs. Looking at his mother's body, he became completely enraged. It was at this moment that the firm idea of eradicating humankind arose in him. And why is this man so persistent about Gaia? Although there can be many reasons. But the simplest reason actually is arrogance. Humans think they understand everything in the world, and they feel complacent because of it. However, when facing the existence that they cannot understand, humans often feel fear. Therefore, the way to eliminate fear is to eradicate the monster Gaia. Gaia derived the regenerative ability of sea cucumbers to repair wounds. Tears covered the entire face. He glanced at his mother, and then walked away. He was not deserting the battle. But he didn't want any more filthy humans to die beside his mother. Sheriff Aaron saw Gaia trying to escape. He shouted to his teammates to quickly drive and chase after her. The monster kid must be getting weaker. They couldn't let him go. If they didn't catch him now, they wouldn't be able to later. And so, they drove after Gaia to a chrysanthemum field. Upon reaching this place, Gaia remembered the happy moments with his mother. However, that scene would never happen again. Gradually, Gaia slowed down and stopped in place, waiting for their arrival. Seeing Gaia stop, they thought he was tired and couldn't run anymore. Sheriff Aaron got out of the car, went crazy, and exclaimed, "Keep running! Try running one more time for me! You monster!" Little did they know that this was the burial site Gaia had chosen for them. Gaia covered his face, wiped away tears, and kept apologizing, saying, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." He is apologizing for the people he killed before, and the people he killed today. They must all have mothers. They are all loved and they love someone. To those of you who are going to be killed now, I'm really sorry. As soon as these words came out, they felt a sudden fear. Without realizing it, they all took a step back. But Sheriff Aaron just smiled. "I didn't expect you, this monster, to still be so arrogant." Gaia ignored him and continued speaking. "Although I have made mistakes as well, you have done the same. For the sake of their hobbies, they endlessly kill, deprive other creatures of their lives, create wars to vie for territory, and destroy countless families. They damage the environment for their own benefit. In your eyes, human life is priceless and noble, while other lives can be measured in money. You humans are really selfish. I have had a question all along. Why am I able to reborn infinitely, and have this magical creature ability derivation, and now I finally understand. For you humans, who are harmful and useless, I exist to eliminate you." Gaia has inherited the ability of the peregrine falcon, soaring through the sky, diving like a shooting star. No one can see his movements clearly. The huge impact left them no chance to fight back. The car was also overturned to the side. The others all died instantly. Only Sheriff Aaron was still alive. I was right after all. You monster must die. You are a threat to the existence of humanity. Monsters like you should not exist in this world. Gaia looked at him coldly. "Yes, that's right. You should kill me. But I just want to live a peaceful life with my mother. But it's because of your failure. And you have awakened a dormant wild beast. So the cost is all the people in the world. Not a single human being will be left." After dealing with him, Gaia held her mother's cold body. She wandered aimlessly in the dim moonlight for a long time. I don't know if he was tired or if it was an illusion. He vaguely heard his mother say that sentence countless times. "Gaia's mom loves you." And this time Gaia replied, "Mom, I love you too." On the day before Mother's Day, the boy lost hope of living on. He held his mother's cold body and walked aimlessly for a long time in the dim moonlight. In the decades spent with his mother, it was the most beautiful time in his life of billions of years. He received a love and happiness that he had never felt before. His mother had become his everything. However, the once beautiful scenes would never happen again. Humans feared his power. Ruthlessness took away his only love. In his countless reincarnations spanning billions of years, he has never experienced such pain. He has thought about ending his life to accompany his mother in departure. But every time he thought about dying, he would always remember everything about his mother, and the words his mother urged him with before she passed away. Gaia, you must keep on living. He didn't know what his purpose was before, but he understands it now. It is to eliminate humanity. I don't know how long has passed. Gaia, who was wandering, only stopped when she reached a cold snowy field, because he saw a chicken, just as he was thinking about filling his stomach. But that chicken was shot dead by a hunter. At that moment, the hunter also noticed Gaia. He saw a thinly dressed boy. Hunter asked, "Where are you from? Never seen such a fat chicken, huh?" Gaia didn't reply, just murmured, "Is it worth boasting about killing a chicken? Disgusting humans." Just as Gaia was about to make a move, Hunter asked, "Where are your parents?" This simple sentence deeply pierced Gaia's heart. Gaia choked and said, "Dead." His response left Hunter speechless for a moment. Suddenly, Gaia felt a warm sensation enveloping her whole body. It turns out that Hunter put his own heavy cotton coat on Gaia. The silly boy felt cold. You can't walk around outside in short sleeves in the dead of winter. You'll catch a cold. He took Gaia home while saying this. This sudden warmth left Gaia at a loss. For the first time, someone cared about him besides his mother. This warm feeling gave him a strange sense of familiarity. Not long after, the two of them arrived in front of a house. Hunter waved to signal his mother that he had returned. Lunch was a wild chicken that was just hunted. Middle-aged man gestured for Gaia to eat faster. Gaia was just about to start eating with her chopsticks. He then heard a strange sound coming from beside him. The middle-aged man explained that the construction site next to them was building a resort. He then asked how Gaia ended up in this remote and desolate mountain ravine. Gaia said she didn't know either. She just walked and ended up here. He looked at the poor child in front of him. He asked Gaia to come with him to the city tomorrow, to see if they could arrange for you to go to school to study. Gaia looked at him, but did not respond, only focused on eating. He tapped Gaia's head. Such a close gesture warmed Gaia's heart. Gaia couldn't fall asleep late at night for a long time, because he had not felt this warmth for a long time. Also, the snoring of the middle-aged man and the old lady was really loud. The next morning, the middle-aged man put his clothes on Gaia and kindly rolled up his pants cuffs. Although Gaia's clothes didn't fit, it still made him feel extra warm. Later, the two of them bid farewell to the old lady. The old lady did not respond, just waved her hand in acknowledgement. Gaia noticed this. On the way, Gaia curiously asked, "Why doesn't your mother speak?" Middle-aged man said his mother cannot hear. Gaia asked why talk to her if she can't hear. Middle-aged man gently strokes Gaia's head. "How come you don't understand any manners, you silly boy? Although mom can't hear, you still need to talk to her. This is the minimum respect for her. As long as you can express your feelings, that's all that matters." Mother's lack of response is also a silent form of love. You will understand it when you grow up. Suddenly, it started pouring rain at this moment. Luckily, the two of them found a cave to take shelter from the rain. And at this moment, at the top of the cave, it is the construction site of the resort. Due to excessive deforestation and the heavy rain, the soil has become soft and started to slide down the mountain. Middle-aged man pushed Gaia away to protect her, ending up getting buried under mud and stones with only his head visible. Even in this state, he was concerned about Gaia's well-being. Gaia was puzzled by why middle-aged man did this and frantically dug the soil beside him. He urged middle-aged man to hold on, saying that they would soon be able to rescue him. But middle-aged man said it was no use. "I feel like my organs have ruptured. I want to see my mom." Middle-aged man closed his eyes forever as he spoke. Seeing this, Gaia slowly stopped her movements. Gaia stood in place, feeling reminiscent of her own mother. He didn't understand why the people who were good to him all died. He looked up at the sky and found the answer in his heart. It turned out they were building a resort up there. Humans, such disgusting beings, he thought to himself. The 12-year-old boy has gone completely crazy. He wants to kill all humans. Just because humans, afraid of their own power, mercilessly took away his mother. And it was because humans built resorts, abusing the land, causing the death of the middle-aged man who loved nature. Gaia carried the body of the middle-aged man in the rain on the way back home. He wanted to fulfill the middle-aged man's last wish to take him to see his mother. This scene reminded him of his deceased mother again. When he looked up, he found someone waiting for him. It's middle-aged man's mom. Gaia lowered her head and swallowed hard, unable to meet her eyes. The old lady looked at her deceased son. Her world collapsed completely in her heart. Gaia also felt her sadness. After burying the middle-aged man, Gaia sat outside the house, pondering. Actually, his mother's death eliminated the idea of humanity. After he killed those police officers, he should have vented quite a bit. But now the death of the middle-aged man made him hesitate. He doesn't know what is the right thing to do. He does not know if it is right to exterminate humanity. He recalled that he only scored 20 points on the exam. Mom scolded Gaia. What's wrong with you? Is this brain following me? And why leave the questions you can't do blank? Gaia is just like us when we were young. She turns a deaf ear to her mother's lecturing. When Gaia thought of this, he made a decision. Not long after, the day of the resort's opening ceremony arrived. As the man finished the ribbon-cutting ceremony, announcing the official completion of the resort, just as he immersed himself in the joy of making big money afterwards, a boy in the distance caught his attention. He saw the boy in tattered clothes. He questioned his subordinates. Is there no guard at the entrance? How can we allow ordinary people in on such an important day? Just as his subordinates were about to stop Gaia, he froze. He noticed that behind the boy, there were numerous household objects. Gaia muttered, even if you don't know the answer, you have to answer. What does it matter if I only got 20 points? I really don't know the answer. Just bravely do it according to your own thoughts. It's okay even if you make a mistake. This is what Gaia's mother told him. This time he no longer hesitated. He decided to follow his original intention. I want to eliminate all of you humans. Not one left alive. After he eliminates all the people in the resort, Gaia stands high above, watching the development of the humans day by day, destroying countless ecological environments. He wants to eradicate humanity. It seems like it's not a simple task. But for me, this can be done. Gaia came to the front of the two graves afterwards. The old lady may not be able to accept her son's death. One day, when Gaia was sleeping, she passed away too. At this moment, Gaia has no more worries. He, who has nothing to live for, sits in front of the house and ponders. He thought for a moment. First, he should master the derivation ability he possesses. Now he has all creature power, and can become anything. But without deliberately maintaining creature awareness. He is just an ordinary human body. He understands this won't work. It seems it's time to train himself. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel in front of the screen. Humans took away his only love. His mother's life was taken away. The middle-aged man who had offered him warmth in his despair was tragically killed due to human greed and illegal construction activities. As a result, the 12-year-old boy decided to eradicate humanity. He went and killed wherever he went. He wants to return all the pain he has suffered back to humanity. But he found that wanting to wipe out humanity was not a simple matter. It's time for him to train himself. A year later, Gaia stood on the railway tracks. He faced the rapidly approaching train. He had no intention of dodging at all. The train driver was scared half to death and pulled the emergency brake. But the train was still going too fast and couldn't stop at all. The train directly crashed into Gaia and sent her flying. The train driver quickly got off the train to search for the boy. But he found nothing at all. He even thought he was seeing things. And Gaia had already walked far away. It turned out that Gaia did not intend to commit suicide, but was training to maintain creature ability derivation unconsciously. And now he has achieved it. The hardness of his body has reached the strength of a conch shell's tooth. 1 year has passed. Gaia, who wanders, has merged with the animals in the forest. He has learned to communicate with animals. Not through talking, but through telepathy. More accurately, it's called the sixth sense. It's easier than he imagined. Because these individual lives are all once reborn through reincarnation. He can predict all their body movements. 5 years have passed. Gaia is constantly enhancing her own power. His body is also gradually growing into adulthood. The body has already reached its peak. He can achieve immortality by enhancing it with the lifespan of a turtle. And his appearance is increasingly resembling his mother Wendy. Another 10 years passed. Gaia's ability awakened once again. He placed his hands on the ground, feeling everything. Slowly realizing that he could feel it all. The soil, the water, even the plants. To be precise, having everything that life form possesses. He can even sense the energy of the entire earth. He feels it. Amidst the constant development of humanity. The earth is getting sick from the countless destruction of ecosystems by humans. The earth is slowly dying. In another 30 years, 59-year-old Gaia. He has mastered all abilities. With one punch, he can easily punch through a mountain range. In the subsequent time, he attempted to combine creature ability derivation with the aura energy of nature. By doing so, he innovated new abilities, like the force of nature. In other words, Gaia can now manipulate everything on Earth. In that case, it means that everything is about to come to an end. Now is the time to declare the death of humanity. The boy is determined to annihilate the entire human race. Because humanity took away his only love, which was his mother's life. Even the middle-aged man and old lady, who gave him a glimmer of warmth and despair, have died. He wants to return all the pain he has suffered to humanity. Accept the pain, humanity. Gaia keeps channeling heat into the earth using force of nature. He then applies pressure to the ground through high-frequency vibrations in his legs. By repeatedly performing this movement, he can trigger an earthquake. With his ability, he can simultaneously trigger strong earthquakes in 6 different locations around the world, causing the tectonic plates to split into 36 parts. Nearly half of the land will sink into the sea. This catastrophe will lead to the extinction of the human race. A truly fitting name. The plan for human extinction. Just as Gaia was about to trigger the earthquake, he watched the birds flying in the sky. He hesitated. Although it means the destruction of humanity, it will also take away the lives of other creatures. Anyway, the extinction of humanity can happen at any time. He suddenly wanted to go see the world where his mother and the middle-aged man had lived, to see if there was still any value and meaning to the existence of humanity. He withdrew his strength. He walked towards the world of humanity. The once clear seaside where Gaia went has turned into a harbor of human trash. The originally lush and green forest. Whenever humans have touched, without exception, it will be subject to their destruction. Even the once flower-scented path. The once flower-scented path has become a cold road. Gaia stopped in her tracks. She felt that the existence of humans would only destroy everything, and the only beneficiaries of this destruction are humans as well. Forget it. Let everything be destroyed. Just as Gaia was about to act, he was interrupted by the loud honk of a car behind him. The glaring headlights made him very annoyed. He activates force of nature. Powerful vibrations cause the road to start cracking instantly. The woman in the car noticed Gaia and abruptly turned the steering wheel. A huge rock on the mountain was shaken loose. After Gaia saw the people in the car, he was stunned for a moment. Because he was in the car, he saw a face he had missed for a long time. She really looked so much like her. She is Mom. Just as the giant rock was about to hit the car, Gaia rushed up in one giant leap. He directly shattered the giant rock. The woman in the car was shaking with fear. She slowly opened her eyes when she heard no movement. But she saw a boy looking at her strangely. He was scared by Gaia's actions. At the same time, a rock fell from the mountain, directly hitting Gaia on the back of her head. Gaia only feels very painful. The woman hurriedly stepped on the brake. Gaia was thrown several meters away. Gaia couldn't understand. Obviously, even in an unconscious state, she could maintain the hardness of her body by maintaining creature ability derivation. But why did she still get hurt herself? He saw the panicked woman in front of him, and her concerned look. He only then realized it was this woman that made him lose focus for a moment. He slowly closed his eyes. The long-lost feeling of death emerged once again. He didn't know how much time had passed. When he opened his eyes, he saw two unfamiliar women. He found himself in the hospital. He suddenly sat up, but was warned by the nurse not to make sudden movements. You just had brain surgery. Otherwise, it will be very painful. The nurse then asked him, "What is your name?" But he couldn't remember anything at that moment, until he saw the woman next to him. A fuzzy figure appeared in his mind. He slowly uttered, "My name is Gaia." A 35-year-old leftover woman surprisingly adopted a 4.5 billion-year-old son. Not long ago, Gaia made the decision to eradicate humanity. But because of a fateful encounter, let him see a long-missed face. The woman has the same face as her mother. But fate just likes to play tricks on people. A large stone hit his head. Let him lose all memories except his name. Even that gentle woman just flashed vaguely in his mind. The attending doctor diagnosed Gaia with amnesia. He has no fixed address and his identity is unknown. He is also a person who has lost his memory. The doctor looks at the woman next to him. Zoe rolled her eyes helplessly. In the next 2.5 months, they checked people aged 20 to 40 across the country. No information about Gaia was found. Even the surveillance cameras at the location where he had the accident didn't capture his image. It's as if the whole person appeared out of thin air. Zoe sighed helplessly. The police had said the same thing to her hundreds of times. She asked how this situation could be possible. The staff analyzed Gaia's current situation. He smiled awkwardly. Perhaps things would be easier to handle if he had a guardian. Zoe didn't react immediately. Suddenly realizing, she looked at the staff. Can this be happening? Yes, I am asking you to be his guardian. That's how Zoe ends up with a 4.5 billion-year-old son. After she finished complaining and handled Gaia's discharge procedures, she looked back at her son. The fate of the two is also intertwined in the hands of fate. After they walked out of the hospital, Gaia, noticing Zoe's bad mood, asked what was wrong. Zoe gave her an unfriendly glance, thinking it's all because of you. I don't even have a boyfriend yet, and now I have a son like you. Then she said, You can't blame me for this. It's because of the falling rocks. I don't need to feel responsible or guilty towards you. Gaia, looking confused, asked, Who is responsible for the falling rocks? He didn't realize at all that Zoe was talking about the reason for his amnesia. Zoe was too lazy to explain and walked up to him grumpily. From your body and appearance, you should be around 24 years old. I'm already 34 years old. I'm much older than you, you know. Gaia had an innocent look on her face. Are you unhappy because you are older than me? Now I understand. I should call you Aunt. Zoe was speechless. Could this child be out of his mind? She pointed at Gaia and scolded. Have you ever seen such a beautiful aunt? You should call me sister. She had no idea that the monster in front of her was actually 4.5 billion years old. She turned her head and asked Gaia to follow her. Gaia asked where they were going. "Of course, to help you find a job and a place to stay until you regain your memory," she replied. But unexpectedly, Gaia began to act like a hooligan and grabbed Zoe's hand. Zoe directly shook off his hand. She angrily said, "What are you thinking? You can't just hold someone's hand like that." Gaia asked with a look of grievance, "Why can't I?" Zoe was completely speechless by his actions. She told Gaia that holding hands required the other person's consent. Unexpectedly, the naive Gaia immediately asked, "Can we hold hands?" She sighed helplessly, then turned to remind Gaia to use polite language. Gaia suddenly understood and asked, "May I hold your hand, sister?" Subsequently, Zoe personally held Gaia's hand. That's all it took, just a simple hand-holding. Suddenly, some fuzzy memories surfaced in his mind. Tears fell from his eyes unintentionally. Notice Gaia's unmoving Zoe. She turned her head in surprise and found Gaia already in tears. But when she asked Gaia why she was crying, Gaia suddenly paused, not at all aware that she had been crying. Yes. Why did I suddenly cry? Even Gaia forgot all the memories. But the warmth she brought to Gaia will always exist. You can think of an existence of billions of years. Will he lose his memory? He is thoroughly disappointed in humanity. He originally wanted to destroy the world. He met a woman who is very much like his mother. After Gaia, who has lost her memory, was adopted by Zoe, she brought him to a coffee shop. She wanted her best friend Julia to let Gaia work at the shop. Julia looked at the innocent Gaia with scrutiny. Unexpectedly, Gaia, who did not understand the ways of the world, said, "What are you looking at?" Her rude attitude left her looking thoroughly confused. The atmosphere instantly became icy. She persuaded Zoe to give up on adopting Gaia. She also expressed disagreement with Gaia working at the store. "Although this is your home. But look at him, with his dull-witted appearance. He still doesn't understand manners. And he also has amnesia and is a stranger. We don't even know if he's a good person. How could you trust him and even bring him home to foster him?" Zoe knows this is not a good idea. But thinking about how Gaia lost her memory because of herself and his pitiful appearance, Zoe's sixth sense tells her that Gaia is harmless. The two people who stopped arguing looked at Gaia inside the house when he saw Zoe looking at him. Gaia flashed a lovely smile. His smile instantly made Julia let down her guard. Julia kind of understood why Zoe adopted him. This little boy is so sweet. She had to compromise with stubborn Zoe. She arranged for Gaia to stay in the empty room above the cafe. She didn't expect Gaia, who was innocent, to flatly refuse. He said, "I want to live with Zoe." But Zoe said no. Gaia could only accept it reluctantly. She watched the increasingly dejected Gaia and comforted Zoe. "Don't think about anything else. Just settle down and focus on recovering your memories. I will come to see you often." Gaia nodded in a resigned manner. After speaking, Zoe got up to say goodbye to the two. These days, due to Gaia's situation, Zoe's research work has been delayed for a long time. Gaia curiously asked about what research work. Julia told him. Zoe is a researcher at the Institute of Technology. Very talented. After saying that, Zoe intended to take away the puppy Wilson, but as soon as she loosened the leash, Wilson immediately went to Gaia for a cuddle. Julia was very surprised to see this. "I didn't expect a shy Wilson to be so close to strangers." Gaia watched this scene with mixed feelings in her heart. He didn't know why he seemed to envy Wilson. It can be taken home and raised by Zoe. It can also receive Zoe's love. This dog really makes people jealous. He was at the moment he touched Wilson. The creature ability derivation within Gaia was instantly triggered. A strong and pleasant smell made Gaia cover her mouth and nose tightly. He is accustomed to the smell. He slowly looked towards the truck emitting a rotten smell on the side. Wilson also smelled the rotten odor afterwards. The crazy dog started barking, and Zoe recognized at a glance that it was a truck from her own technical institute. The calm down Gaia. He realized that he had acquired the sense of smell of the dog. And he felt it too. The creature in the truck is a life form he has never seen before. This life form was born because of the selfish development of humanity. Although Gaia has lost her memory, he can also feel that the life form gives off a very strong smell. Negative energy gathers here like a convergence of countless resentful signals from the depths of an abyss. It's a strong hostility towards humanity. Will humanity ultimately perish due to selfishness and desires, or more precisely, destruct everything in reckless pursuit of development? Will we end up destroying ourselves with the very technology we are proud of? The final outcome remains unknown. This is a Hydra, a creature capable of inducing the division of cancer cells. Regardless of the damage its body suffers, it can regenerate perfectly in a few days. In a laboratory at a biotechnology institute, many researchers are studying the regenerative abilities of the Hydra organism. If they could discover a method to suppress cell regeneration, then cancer cells also have the possibility of being suppressed. Humans will break through the puzzle of cancer cells. A while ago, a marine company developed a new type of Hydra organism. And this is exactly the unease that Gaia previously sensed. This being that does not naturally exist on Earth has been created by humans. It has been named Steer, meaning leader. Earth is a perfect planet. All organisms derive from single cells. As time passes, a variety of organisms slowly evolve. From the birth of life on Earth, animals then acquire the instinct for survival. They do not need to learn to acquire it. It is an innate ability. All beings on Earth are cycling between life and death. This cycle maintains the perfect balance of the Earth. However, this flawless planet is being compromised by human overdevelopment. The destruction of the ozone layer has led to global warming. Glaciers are starting to melt, and green vegetation is growing. The oceans have also become a garbage dump for humanity. All that humans do is gradually destroying the balance of this perfect planet. Go back to the coffee shop over there. Gaia reluctantly went to work, because he wants to go to church with Zoe. But Julia prohibited Gaia from going anywhere during working hours. She also threatened him that he would sleep on the street tonight if he dared to wander around. She said, "I also believe in Buddhism. I even know Shaolin Kung Fu." Zoe casually asked, "Did Gaia have any religious beliefs before you lost your memory?" Julia saw him looking confused. She asked him if he was an atheist, meaning someone who does not believe in gods. Unexpectedly, Gaia immediately denied it. He believes that in such a perfect world, it is impossible for there to be no gods. If there were no gods, this world would be too bizarre. Even if he lost his memory. But Gaia, who has lived on Earth for billions of years, he is 100% certain. Such a perfect world. Earth will not stand by and watch the balance be destroyed. No matter if it's a typhoon, hurricane, earthquake, or tsunami. It has countless natural means at its disposal, just like the human body's innate ability to protect itself from harm. If these are not enough, then the Earth will create a necessary existence to maintain a balanced and harmonious existence. This kind of existence is endowed with the instinct to exist in order to eliminate humanity. But no one knows that there are two existences on Earth with the same goal. One existence is being imprisoned by humanity. Another existence temporarily lost its memory and forgot its purpose. No matter in what kind of posture the two existences are in, but they are destined to meet. What will be their final outcome? It is still unknown now. It's time to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel again, everyone, don't forget. Now, get ready with your popcorn and beer. Let's continue to see what the next story holds. Gaia, who lost her memory, was arranged by Zoe to work at her best friend Julia's coffee shop. And the waking Gaia still looked confused. She was then scolded by Julia. "You didn't clean up such a dirty warehouse before going to sleep." Gaia was forced to tidy up the warehouse with Julia. He found that the boxes were full of books, and the mysterious world of animals among them piqued his curiosity. Julia said you can take a look when you're bored. Because customers often come into the store to read without making a purchase, that's why she took down the books. It's almost time to start working. Julia is giving Gaia new employee onboarding training. She is teaching Gaia some customer service scripts. Although he can respond fluently, he speaks convincingly. But he is like a motionless working machine. Julia said that making money in this world is not that simple. Even if you are very handsome, can you be more handsome than the audience in front of the screen? If you want your guests to experience 100 points of service, you have to smile. The moment the words fell, the first group of guests arrived today. They are two pretty college students. Gaia immediately revealed a smile that could charm thousands of girls. The two young women were instantly conquered by the damn cute temperament. What's wrong with this kid? How dare he flirt with customers? The time has come to evening. Zoe, who is running for exercise, passes by the coffee shop. She finds that the shop is already full of customers, most of whom are girls. They are looking at Gaia with an adoring expression on their faces. Gaia also responds to all the girls with a smile. They are completely conquered by Gaia's looks. Zoe never thought his charm was so great. Julia looked at the day's sales at night, and they actually broke the record. She happily exclaimed, knowing that she had hit the jackpot. She also wanted to change the storefront sign to Gaia's smile, but Gaia, who had no concept of money, was indifferent. He kept massaging his sore apple muscles. Zoe was also happy for them, and decided to have a drink with Julia tonight to celebrate. But Julia said she had a blind date and couldn't go. Zoe could only sigh and give up. But Gaia said she had nothing to do. Could she make an appointment with me? He looked expectantly at Zoe. The atmosphere suddenly became quiet. Shortly afterwards, the two of them arrived at a bar. Zoe didn't mince words. Filled his glass directly. And Gaia is also being introduced to beer for the first time. He took a big gulp. Immediately, Gaia's face showed a look of discomfort. Why does this thing taste so bad? But Zoe just finished it in one gulp, and exclaimed that she was alive again. So exhilarating. Gaia couldn't figure out why this stuff tasted good. Zoe didn't know how to respond. Maybe it's just for getting drunk. Gaia curiously asked what's the point of getting drunk. Zoe expressed that reality is very unfair and cruel. Many people choose to drink and get drunk to temporarily forget their troubles caused by various unpleasantness in life. Gaia is troubled by amnesia. After listening to Zoe's words, she was greatly inspired. He looked at the beer in his hand, itching to drink it. After that, the two drunk people had a blast on the street. Drunk Gaia kept hitting her head against the wall, and even said she would never drink again in the future. It feels like the whole earth is shaking. I feel so uncomfortable. Zoe chuckled and said, "That's the taste." Later, Gaia offered to take her home. Zoe didn't expect that this stubborn guy would actually become considerate towards girls. At this moment, Gaia remembered a book. It seems that the book that taught him how to pick up girls did not deceive him. The two then passed through a patch of bushes. The twinkling fireflies caught Zoe's attention. Without realizing it, she explained how beautiful they were. To her surprise, Gaia mistakenly thought she liked those lights as he watched the fireflies. The drunken Gaia unknowingly derived a creature ability, transforming his body to emit a soft light like a firefly. In his intoxicated state, he asked, "Am I beautiful too?"